when I ask students about what is their impression of 99 percentile in CAT, a lot of them feel that they need to score a very high mark to achieve this. So today, let's break this down. Let's understand what we mean by percentile, how is it different from percentage, and what are the exact marks that we might need to get a 99 percentile in CAT so that we could get through an IIM or other top MBA college. So let's understand what is the difference between percentile and percentage. Now, in school, you know that if you get 90 marks out of 100 marks, that's 90%. If that same 90 is out of 200 marks, of course, it becomes 45%. So 99 percentage marks would essentially mean that you got 99 out of 100. But 99 percentile, what it means is your score in CAT is more than what 99% of the CAT takers have scored. So when we look at CAT 2021, where around 2 lakh people had taken the CAT exam, if you're in the top 2000, which is the top 1%, that's when you are scoring the 99 percentile. In CAT 2022, around 2.2 lakh people had taken CAT, and 1% of 2.2 lakh is 2200. So around 2200 people have actually scored 99 percentile and above. So all it means is your mark in CAT is more than or equal to the score of 99% of the total CAT takers. And that is why the score required to reach a 99 percentile will actually end up changing every year, because the exam will be of a different difficulty level, the questions could be different, the time could be different, and of course the number of people taking it become different. Now, even with that, since we are used to getting very high scores in board exams, the people getting a 10 GPA or 100%, or a lot of people getting 90, 95, 99% and above, we feel that to score this 99 percentile, we would still need a very high mark. So a lot of times when we ask newbies to guess that, out of 198 marks, how many marks do you think, people would need to score to get the 99th percentile? A lot of them would guess 180, 190 marks, or people would guess 150 or 160 marks. So the real answer might actually shock you, because you can actually get a 99 percentile with somewhere around 50% marks. So 50% marks itself could be the 99th percentile in CAT. Surprised? Let's take a look at the actual numbers. So when we look at CAT 2021, these are the marks that you needed to score 80 or 85 percentile, 90, 95 or 99. So you can see that 80 to 85 percentile was actually somewhere around 25-26% marks. That score, if it's like our board exam and we're going and telling people that, oh, we've got like 25% or even 50%, that's not something to be super proud of. But at this level in CAT, if you're getting 80 to 85 percentile, that means that you're probably going to get shortlisted by colleges where the average starting salary is somewhere around 10 to 15 lakhs per year. 99th percentile, as you can see, was around 97 marks, and 97 out of 198 marks is just less than 50% marks. Now the marks required to score these percentiles actually dipped in CAT 2022. So in 22, these are the scores that you needed to get the same percentiles. So you can see that the 80th and the 85th percentile has actually dropped quite a bit. It's dropped to somewhere around 20% or a little lower. Whereas the overall 99th percentile was also around 84 marks, which is somewhere around 42%. So 42% marks, which obviously, when we look at any other exam might not seem like a high score, is actually enough to get you the 99th percentile. Now, when you see this, of course, the question that would be running through your mind is, why is it this way? When the same people that are taking CAT are getting pretty high scores in the board exams or scoring well in college, why is it that the marks required to get a 95 or a 99 percentile, and a 99 percentile essentially, ends up getting you into B schools where your average starting salary would be anywhere from 25 to 35 lakhs given today's numbers. So that's about 2 to 3 lakhs per month. So why is it that such a seemingly low score is sufficient? So one reason, of course, is that it's a timed test. It's a 2-hour paper. You have exactly 40 minutes for each section. And the paper itself is not something which you can fully solve in 2 hours. It's probably a 3-hour paper or longer, which is crunched into 2 hours. You also have negative marking. That's again something which would obviously bring down your marks. But the main reason is that this is a very conceptual exam. It's simply not enough if you are memorizing quant formulae. You need to really understand the quant concepts. Similarly, you need to understand and visualize the DILR problems so that you can solve them. And when it comes to verbal, there's really no vocabulary or grammar at all. Of course, you have to be reading at a high level, but in order to get a high score in verbal, what you need to do is understand the passage, understand what the author is trying to tell you, and there's a lot of logical reasoning involved in finding the correct answer. And that is why it makes a lot of sense to understand the concepts and prepare conceptually, prepare for a longer time, maybe, 10 to 12 months, rather than just trying to do a crash course in 3 months and trying to sort of memorize a lot. So once you understand it conceptually, once you have brushed up your logical reasoning, you'll actually find that you would be able to get to these scores. When it comes to CAT, we get an overall score and percentile, and we also get the scores for individual sections and the section-wise percentile. Now this is important because almost every IIM has sectional cutoffs, and you need to get the minimum sectional cutoffs also for them to consider you and calculate the composite score and perhaps shortlist you for the next step. So in the screen, you can actually see what were the scores required to get a percentile from 80 to 95 in every section. So when we look at the VARC section, for example, if you had scored 22 marks, that would have got you the 80th percentile. To score a 99th percentile, you needed to get 45 marks. You can see that the corresponding scores in quant and DILR are a little bit on the lower side, and that's typically because nobody finishes the paper in these sections. Typically in DILR, people will actually end up doing maybe 1 or 2 cases, and good students, really good students, might do solve 3 cases. Now coming to CAT 2022, these are the scores which we needed for a similar percentile. You can see that the scores have actually dipped, and that's because DILR especially was a little tougher this year, and we also had a slot where verbal was a little bit on the tougher side. The quant marks, if you see, have sort of remained the same over the last couple of years. Now, in case you're weak in any one of the sections, please don't panic and think that, oh, I need to, score 30 marks or even 40 marks in these 40 minutes. So how do I do it, right? So remember that the scoring pattern is 3 marks per question. So to get 39 marks, which is the 99th percentile in verbal, you need to get 13 questions right. Now in verbal, typically we don't get 100% accuracy. So what that could mean is maybe you've got 14 questions right and 3 questions wrong, or you've got 15 questions right and 5 or 6 questions wrong. The other thing to remember is that the sectional cutoffs have actually come down over time. When I took CAT and when I got into IIM Lucknow, the sectional percentiles that were required were somewhere around 94-95 percentile. But now it's somewhere in the 70 to 85 percentile range. In fact, for IMA, it is said the 70th percentile, and only for IIM Lucknow, it is the 85th percentile. So if you had maybe done a couple of RCs and got 7 questions correct, if you done 1 DILR case and that gave you 15 marks, and similarly, if you had done 4 or 5 quant cases, that itself would be sufficient for you to clear the cutoffs. Now, of course, overall, you need to get a high score so that you get into the top B schools. And that is something to keep in mind. Remember that in this exam, you need to have a high total, but your sectional scores also matter. So you need to practice all 3. The key takeaway that I want to leave you with is getting 99 percentile is definitely achievable. 80 to 85 percentile is pretty easy if you put in the practice and you understand the concepts and you practice tests, take a lot of mocks, and with that sort of prep, even 99 percentile is something which is definitely achievable. Now to do this, as I said, having a conceptual understanding and looking at test taking strategies are the 2 single most important things. Try to pace it over time. If you're looking at CAT 2023, it makes a lot of sense to start now. So at Mockat, for instance, we're actually starting the classes now, and we finish the syllabus by the end of May so that we have enough time to revise and to practice the test taking strategies. So no matter how much you know, by improving your test taking strategies, you can always get to a higher score or a higher percentile, because we need to get only about 40 to 50% marks. That means that the approach and the questions that you attempt are very important, and this would also depend on your strengths and your weaknesses. If you want to start your prep, we've put some links on Mockat. You're more than welcome to register for free and try out some of the content and some of the tests. We have some free content, we have a couple of free mocks, and we also have quizzes of the day to help you prep along with much more. So I look forward to seeing you at mockat.com, and all the best to you for your CAT prep.